right, guys, welcome back to another video. Lots to talk about to end off this week, but before we do jump into it, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you do enjoy what you see throughout this video. And if you've been watching for a while and you do like this daily gaming content, hit the subscribe, as I see a lot of my analytics come back but aren't subscribed. So just would appreciate you hitting the button to help the channel grow. And also check out my Spotify in the link in the description, which is just the audio version if you wanted to listen to this somewhere other than on YouTube. But let's start off here with some major news, and that has to do with Gearbox. We had previously seen the Embracer Group divesting more and more. They had gone through a lot of changes because if you remember way back, they had struck a huge multi-billion-dollar deal with a Saudi group that fell through, and they were expecting a lot of money to come in that just wasn't there, which has led the Embracer Group to being just terrible for the gaming industry right now, with layoffs, game cancellations, and studio closures. And since then, after the closures and layoffs, they've now been trying to divest more and more. And one of those companies that was up for grabs, we just saw Saber Interactive spin off and get out of the Embracer Group. The other one here was Gearbox. We had heard that they were going to be sold. They were going to be shipped off from the Embracer Group. And now it is officially official. And the major company that picked up Gearbox, which is a nice get for them and makes complete sense, is Take-Two. They are acquiring Borderlands maker Gearbox from Embracer for $460 million. So it says here, the sale, which amounts to $460 million, will see Gearbox become wholly owned by Take-Two, which already has an ongoing relationship with the developer through the Borderlands franchise. They say, as a significant long-term Embracer Group shareholder, I believe in the strategy for the Embracer Group going forward, and I'm completely convinced that this transaction is the best possible scenario and an obvious net positive arrangement for the Embracer Group, for Take-Two, and of course for Gearbox Entertainment. That's from Randy Pitchford, the founder and CEO of Gearbox Entertainment. He says, my primary interest is always Gearbox, especially our talent and our customers. I want to personally assure fans of our games that this arrangement will ensure that the experience we have in development at Gearbox will be the best they can possibly be. Now, of course, now they're going over to Take-Two, which is obviously a very rich publisher, a very successful publisher, and they're going to have all the backing and they're going to have all the resources to be able to continue to make their games, especially with the upcoming new Borderlands game that they did confirm they are still actually working on that. So there is this here, Take-Two, or 2K, I should say, has confirmed that the next Borderlands game is in active development. So this again follows the acquisition, and we have this quote here: with nearly 20 years of history working together, Gearbox has played an integral role in our success, given their unique ability to create interactive entertainment experiences that feature beloved characters, exciting new worlds, and humorous storytelling. That's from David Ismailer, the president of Take-Two Publishing and 2K. They say, we are thrilled to welcome Randy Pitchford and his team of passionate, talented developers to 2K, and we look forward to releasing numerous projects in the future. As colleagues, we have loved partnering with Gearbox on every iteration of the Borderlands franchise and are excited to be in active development on the next installment in the series. And this isn't surprising that they are working on the next installment. The question is, what's coming after that? They say November, there's references to Borderlands 4 and Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 2, both spotted within LinkedIn profiles from Gearbox employees. So it's probably both of those that are in active development, and when we're going to get those, we aren't sure. But that's great to hear that they are still making these games. This sale hasn't really stalled anything. They're still fully in active development. And in fact, I feel like this is going to make these games end up being better than what they would have been if they would have been stuck with the Embracer Group. In fact, there was an interview with IGN with Randy Pitchford asking about his personal favorite game in Borderlands series, and here is what he says. Look, we haven't even announced anything of it yet. Clearly, we're working on something, and I know that we're working on, and holy shit, it's the greatest thing we've ever done, and I can't wait, but it's not time yet. It's not time yet. There will be a time. So obviously, he's going to hype up the game that they are working on. So if you are a Borderlands fan, if you're a Gearbox fan, I think this is a good thing for the company. This is a good sale, and this will just help these games continue to thrive and be better as they do move forward into the future. But that is just another move here by Embracer divesting, which is better than closing studios, better than laying off. And I wonder when the shrinkage of the Embracer Group is going to be complete, where they can sit back and think, okay, now we can start focusing on actually creating and making games rather than trying to get into a financial position that will make us successful. So that'll be an interesting thing to see. And maybe we will be continually talking about Embracer more this year. I hope not, because it's just been nonstop negative news from them. So we'll see here. Now, Borderlands, Gearbox, that wasn't the only major gaming industry move that did happen yesterday. The other one here is Sega. Sega is selling Relic Entertainment and cutting 240 jobs in Europe. So a major cut here. It says Vancouver, Canada-based Relic specializes in real-time strategy games, including the Company of Heroes, Age of Empires, and the Homeworld series. So if you're a fan of those games, this is who is affected. They say Sega said it is selling Relic to a holding company to be newly established by the UK investment company Amona Capital LLP, but the further details were being disclosed due to the request of the transferee. Now, there is an update to this story that did happen after. Relic has said it will continue supporting its existing games following the news that it will be sold. They put out a large post on social media where they kind of go over everything as to what is happening here. And specifically, this is what they say. With an external investor, Relic Entertainment will become an independently run development studio. This is a huge change for us, but one thing does not change. We want to create amazing experiences for our players. To our fans, we want to assure you we will continue to support our titles, including Company of Heroes 3. We are looking forward to the 1.6 update in April, loaded with new content and features requested by our community. We want to thank Sega, whose support over the years and guidance during this transition have been instrumental to our success. We may be out of the Sega business, but we remain friends and colleagues. And they say we are excited about the next chapter for Relic, and we hope you will all join us in creating new experiences for our fans worldwide. So they're still going to be creating their games. Those are still in development. However, there are 240 job cuts across Sega that have been affected by this move. They say the majority of the 240 job cuts will be made at Creative Assembly and Sega Europe, with smaller number of cuts being at Sega Hardlight, all three of which are based out of the UK. And they say following review of the medium-term lineup of its European studio, Sega also said it has decided to implement write-downs of work in progress of some titles in development. As a result, it expects a record loss of 5.6 billion yen as a cost of sales. And Sega is working closely with Relic on this shift, and we wish them the best in the future. So more shifts in the industry. This is going to be, I think, what defines this generation more so than anything. We've gotten lots of great games, but what we have seen the most throughout this generation has just been an absolute change in the industry, and acquisitions and cutbacks and sales and how the business works and subscription services. All of these things have completely changed the industry that we knew a couple of generations ago. And it'll be interesting if maybe at some points in the future, there is kind of an overview breakdown, a documentary of some sort as to what happened this generation, what made it change so much, and then we can compare where we are in the future. But yeah, this is continuing, and we will probably see more of this again as 2024 does roll along. Now, we have a bunch of news here for games from coming to Xbox, games in development overall. And we'll start off here with Monster Hunter Wilds. And this game is planned for Q1 2025. An insider is claiming, so the next major game in the Monster Hunter series. This is insider Dust Golem, who we heard from, I believe earlier this week. It says they have a long track record of reporting information about video games before it has been made public. And Dust Golem claimed to be hearing a lot of things about the game from various sources, and said that from what they were hearing, it was shaping up to be by far the biggest game Capcom has ever attempted. And we're coming off right now of Dragon's Dogma 2, which has been insanely successful, and a lot of people love it, even after the little controversy there with the microtransactions that did hit the game after the release. Now we're looking forward here to what do they have in store next, and Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be one of those huge games, as it is, I think it's their biggest game overall that they do sell, so that will be massive. They say according to their sources, the game has been in development since early 2019, shortly after the release of Monster Hunter World. They claim that a lot of the scrapped ideas from the world are here. The big Godzilla monster will be returning, and they say the game is also fully open world and is experimenting far more with the concept than Monster Hunter World or Rise did. and that while could be considered a risk, the feedback is stellar so far. So if you're a Monster Hunter fan, look for the game's release window of Q1 2025, saying that they are banking on this to carry the whole fiscal year. And they also say, I don't even think Grand Theft Auto 6 would make them delay it. And I feel like Grand Theft Auto 6 is a massive game, of course, and that's going to be a game that carries the entire year when it does release for the overall publicity, success, money, all that type of stuff. It's going to have just insane numbers for Grand Theft Auto 6, but Monster Hunter is also going to have insane numbers, and they're also dealing with a different genre of games. They're dealing with different demographics of people that are going to want to play Monster Hunter Wilds versus Monster Hunter or versus Grand Theft Auto 6. So it'll be different, but they will both be, I think, extremely, extremely successful when they do come out, and it'll be a huge release when the next major Monster Hunter game does release. Now, another game that's going to be massive is going to be the next Witcher. Really looking forward to it if you're a Witcher fan at all, especially even if you only played The Witcher 3, which I think a lot of people got into the series on The Witcher 3, and it just really blew everybody away as an incredible RPG. The next Witcher game, The Witcher 4, is something that is going to be really, really insane when they finally see some gameplay and then they finally give us a release date. And we could be getting closer to that now. As this says here, 2/3 of CD Projekt developers are now working on The Witcher 4, reaching its target staff size. So they're ramping up development. They're getting ready to go hard on this thing to get a release time frame and to get some more information about the game out there. This has revealed during an earnings conference in the publisher's fiscal year 2023 earnings. Development team now sits at 403 staff. They say here, the Polaris team, on the other hand, has grown to over 400 developers, reaching its target size for entering the production phase. This is scheduled for the second half of the year. They said the team working on the Witcher spin-off Project Sirius, led by Molasses Flood, hasn't changed in size since CD Projekt's last update and remains at just under 40 staff. And as well, back in January, CD Projekt joint CEO Adam Badowski said he hoped the production phase of the fourth main Witcher game, Polaris, would start this year. So it's in essentially full production now going forward as they've reached that target staff team to make sure that this game can move along smoothly. Very exciting. I can't wait till we see that first glimpse of gameplay from CD Projekt and from The Witcher. I mean, they had a huge bounce back from Cyberpunk 2077. Right now, people may forget about how that game did launch, where it was essentially broken on many platforms that they had promised it would run great on. I mean, you sit back and you think about it. Yes, I believe if you had the Series X, it was okay at launch. PS5 was okay at launch. If you had a high-end PC, even on PC, I think there's a lot of issues. But where it completely faltered was on the PS4 and the Xbox One and the Xbox One X. Like, it did not run great there. And they even released a Cyberpunk 2077 Xbox One X. So really, there's no excuse. It's one of the few games that actually had to get delisted off of a storefront after it did release. If you remember, PlayStation pulled it off of the storefront. But then they continued to work on it. They released some incredible DLC. And now I think Cyberpunk 2077 is regarded as one of those amazing RPGs that everybody needs to play even after that abysmal launch. Now, when it comes to Xbox, there's a couple updates here for games for the Xbox console. Predator Hunting Grounds is now coming to the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5 in late 2024. And why this is significant is because this game was previously a PlayStation console exclusive, and now it's finally coming over to Xbox. They say late 2024 release, Xbox Series X and S and PS5 release. Predator is coming to Xbox. This release is focused on next gen, running on Unreal Engine 4.27. So if you've ever wanted to play this game, but you didn't have a PlayStation, you never picked it up on the PlayStation platform, and now you want to play it on Xbox, you're going to get it there. And you're also going to get, I guess, a next generation, a better version of it when it does release on the Series X, S, and the PlayStation 5. And next up here, Era History Untold. Was kind of some confusion as to whether this game was coming to console or not, or if it was just going to be a PC game, especially with the style of game. But we have an update. Xbox Game Studios' Era History Untold is coming to console, just not at launch. From Oxide Games, they say Oxide Games is laser focused on delivering a top-notch PC-first experience with Era slated for Windows, Steam, and PC Game Pass later this year. Plans for Xbox consoles will be revealed post-launch. And that's great to hear. And it's awesome to see that Xbox is continuing to make sure that these styles of games do make their way out onto console, having the controllers that adapt for the way that they do play. We've seen them be able to do it very nicely with games like Halo Wars, and you have Age of Empires going to console, like all of that stuff. They've finally been able to give those consoles experiences that people will have wanted for a long time. The next step is just kind of making sure, I think, that these games release on console at the same time as they do release on PC. And hopefully going forward, that will be the full plan from Xbox Game Studios with these styles of games. And finally, end things off here, Ereban Shadow Legacy. This has been the weirdest kind of thing. This was a game that was shown off at an Xbox showcase. A lot of people thought it looked really good, and it was coming to Xbox Game Pass. And then just recently, they switched publishers. They pulled out of the Game Pass deal, and people were even questioning whether this game was even coming out on to Xbox. People were saying that now that they've pulled out from that deal and they switched publishers, they're only releasing it on PlayStation, which is not the case. They actually did put out an update here, and they say, as there has been some confusion regarding Ereban Shadow Legacy and Game Pass lately, please read this statement. We hope this makes it clear. Thank you for your support and understanding. They go here and say, hello everyone, since the announcement of the release date of Ereban Shadow Legacy, some of you expressed concerns about the game not being available on Xbox Game Pass as previously indicated. As we shared a few weeks ago, there have been changes in this matter. Due to our separation from Raw Fury as our publisher, the release of Ereban Shadow Legacy on Xbox and Game Pass on day one had to be canceled. And I think that's where the confusion came in. For some reason, they're not even putting this onto Xbox day one, and it was supposed to be on Game Pass, which is very odd. But they say, as gamers who grew up with various Xbox consoles, we were incredibly excited about this release, so it's disappointing for us too. However, please rest assured that we will do our best to bring Ereban to Xbox as soon as we can. In the meantime, we continue to work hard on the PC version to ensure that we bring you the best possible gaming experience. This journey has been challenging, but sincerely appreciate your support throughout this time. Despite the unfortunate news, we hope you will enjoy Ereban when it launches on PC on April 10th. So PC April 10th, and then coming to Xbox at a later date. So I just kind of wonder what happened. If they hadn't switched publishers, would this game have just been delayed? Is that why they switched publishers? Because Xbox was like, well, the game's not ready for Xbox. You have to delay it because we have that Game Pass deal. And they were maybe like, well, we want to put it out on PC and that's where they think their main audience is going to be. And we'll get it out on Game Pass or an Xbox later. And then they decided that they didn't want to have to delay it. So they go and switch publishers, or get away from the publisher that had that Game Pass deal. That's just my speculation of potentially what could have happened here. Just a very odd game in terms of what went down with the original announcement for it coming to Xbox Game Pass day one. But I'll end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye.